What's good, fam? Welcome to another video. If we haven't met yet, my name is Ted and I usually talk bass. Today I want to talk musicians in general, drummers, keyboard players, singers, etc., etc. I'm like a lot of you guys, as soon as mask mandates started being lifted and things started opening up and gigs started coming back, I went right back to the gig that I had, the regular gig that I had before the shutdowns. I don't call them lockdowns because I think, quite honestly, that's an insult to anybody who's really been locked down. Shout out to some of my family and friends who've been locked down. Some of y'all are still locked down. That was my attempt at being humorous, but I'm serious. It's an insult to them. Anyway, enough of that. Here's the thing. How you handle 2020 is your business, right? Some people could say, you should have done this, you should have done that, you should have done whatever it is you were able to do, right? And because that was some unprecedented stuff. Here's the thing, though. We're not out of the woods yet. Now, this is not about politics. This is not about views on vaccines or anything like that. A citywide, nationwide shutdown, worldwide shutdown is something that we can't control. So the more important thing is, what have we learned as musicians? The game is different. We've already played level 1 with the new variants of COVID, and the powers that be decide to do whatever. If there should be another shutdown, how can you pivot if this happens again? Whether it does or not, it's better to be prepared for it and it not happen than it happen and you're not prepared for it. So what are some things that I think, you might be able to do or to start working on right now? One thing is YouTube. I've been doing YouTube for a long time. I've had my channel for quite some time. It did grow over the pandemic, over the original shutdown, because I had a little bit more time to create content and things like that. And I'm continuing to grow that. That season kind of made me look at my online efforts in a different way. Another thing that you could do is, the live stream concerts thing, it might be a little played, you know what I mean? So you could still do that, but how, I'm putting this out there. I'm not shooing it away, because that very well may be the way of the future. But, if you've got some ideas to how to make that really work, what different spaces work around that? What other skills do you have that you could leverage in that space? A buddy of mine down in Austin started out as a DJ. His clientele and his whole thing started shifting when the original shutdowns happened. Then he got into streaming. Everybody was streaming, and the game of streaming, elevated, right? So it was, people wanted more than just setting up a cell phone and streaming. So he used his resources, he bought gear, and he started a whole nother arm to his business, right? So that's another thing you could be doing. Of course, you could be giving private lessons, but I think, for me, I teach primarily bass. That's what I'm known for, is bass. But I also teach other things. I teach, general music. I teach music theory. I teach, production and beat making and things like that as well. So, maybe that's something you can look into. I'm just throwing these things out. I haven't written down a list or thought about this. A lot of the feel of my channel is I just want to get on the camera and just say what's on my mind, and I hope you're okay with that. This video is not political. Again, it's not about how you feel about the vaccine or the government or whatever. If they shut things down again, if they were to do that, that is something that is beyond your control. It's something that's beyond my control. My gut has been telling me all day to brace myself for another shutdown. Particularly here in New Orleans, when all of our major festivals have now been pushed to October. Then we've got, the holiday season. Right after that in New Orleans, we've got Mardi Gras. We know Mardi Gras was kind of blamed, looked at as a super spreader event. So, you know what I'm saying? I feel it coming. I got homies in California that are talking about gigs are already getting canceled. At the time I'm filming this, I have a gig in Chicago. You know what I mean? Speaking of, I mean, again, not political, not talking about how I or you may feel about the vaccine, but I was just in Oakland and I went to a club the first night I got to Oakland. And you know what they asked? This opens up a whole new can of worms, but they asked to see my vaccination record. Now, I'm not going to tell you what I did because that ain't your business. But you see this, it's tricky. It's complicated. What I'm saying with that is for musicians and anyone else who has to travel for work, I feel it coming to where you're not going to be able to do certain things without being vaccinated. It's a slippery slope. It's scary. It's weird, right? It limits what I am comfortable with doing or being around, and I'm sure it may do that for you as well. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know. I'm okay with saying I don't know. And I think it's okay to say I don't know. But if anything, this is a conversation I really want to have. So if you've got something to add to this conversation, please leave it in the comment section below because I really want to talk about it. I think creatives, and I'm not just musicians, anybody who is creative, who is working and relying on patronage from other people for a living, we need to start talking about this now. Okay, we've already played that game. We don't need to wait until it happens again, if it happens again, and be looking for people to, CashApp and Venmo and all those things, because a lot of them gonna be hurting too. I'm not saying I have any answers. I don't. But it's something I wanted to put on your mind. It's something that I wanted to add, have a dialogue about. So again, if you have something you want to add to the conversation, please let's start a dialogue down in the comment section below. Hey, thanks for your time. I appreciate you watching any one of the videos, especially this one. And if you are interested in bass tutorials, there's a playlist right there. And up there is a video that YouTube thinks you might like. And down here is that subscribe button. You ought to hit it. It only takes a second. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Peace. 2 fingers.